Episode 11.
Yes.
We're back. So, busy few weeks. Well, 2 weeks since we last did this. Obviously, we had one with Ethan that went out. Actually, before we start, I know we don't always look at the camera, but I'm going to say, if you're watching this and you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. The button's like down there somewhere. And we're trying to build the channel. The subscribers are going up, but I feel like there are people out there that watch it and don't subscribe. So, if you're one of them, stop being a dick and subscribe. The best way to ask people for something is to abuse them, innit? I've found.
Really?
Yeah, probably not.
No.
Strike that dick from the record.
Just please is generally enough.
Yeah.
So busy 2 weeks. What have you been up to?
Well, this weekend gone, Sidon, the Spring Fair,
Yes.
which was lucky for us because they were both at the same place. So
That did help.
2 birds with 1 stone. We also did a laser target of people at the NEC, didn't we? So
We need to explain that better.
So-
Laser targeting ad.
yeah, so an
2
ad.
people at the NEC.
So basically, as we've talked about, the fact we're not doing events,
Yes.
we didn't want to miss out on not just the opportunity to sell, but more to miss out on the
Presents.
yeah, having a presence at those events without physically being there with a store, although we may be there in a viewing capacity. So we set an ad on Facebook, laser targeted specifically to the NEC. So anyone that was scrolling in between events, or if you're bored watching your husband or Jim, you could you'd be scrolling Facebook and then an ad would pop up that'd say, "Are you at the NEC?" So the idea with that is because it's properly targeted to that area and it's so specific, when you're scrolling, if you see something that's exactly where you are, you're like, "Oh, I am actually."
Yeah.
So it's that kind of vibe. So we got quite a few clicks on that, so it was interesting. But it's something we're going to keep doing moving forward.
We're going to refine it.
Yeah.
Keep playing with various ideas, haven't we?
Yeah, definitely. But that's, yeah, so that weekend we also had a good strategy session, didn't we, on how we're going to do bits and bobs moving forward, and we came to the conclusion that in some capacity we are going to launch a new product every single month this year. So right now we've got the throwback tees on, which is going down really well. Next month it'll be some limited edition hoodies. And the month after that, I'm hoping, we just got some samples through earlier, hoping it might be them. There's some 2 pieces we've got, but if not, it'll be something from either our personalised range or something like that. So yeah, so that's that. What else have we been up to? I've signed up to the Open. Some people haven't. And the funny thing about the people that haven't signed up for the Open, they're telling people that they haven't. It's like, why are you telling people that you've not done something? And that's what brings me to the stuff we've talked about before. The virtue signal is like to say, I'm so much better than everyone else. I'm not doing the Open. Well, just don't do it and shut up. Like, that's my opinion on that.
Okay. Yeah. But you have done it.
I have signed up. I even got the shirt because I thought the shirt looked quite cool. It was like a bit of a globe thing. But I got the shirt more for it always interests me. I always want to get involved with merch from different brands. So like CrossFit are obviously operating on a global scale. What's the quality of that tee? Same when we're at Rogue, or looking at all their tees and looking through them, and it's just
that was interesting.
Market research, and it wasn't that much more for the tee. So, well, I'll get stuck in. What else have we been up to?
Did charity day yesterday?
Oh yeah, you. That's why you sat like that.
That is why I'm sat very uncomfortably.
So how is the arse?
It's sore.
It's sore.
It's
so
really sore.
For those wondering why your arse is sore, do you want to tell them so that they don't come to their own conclusions?
About 330,000 meters.
You kept saying miles.
I know. I put miles on there. Someone was like, "That's really wrong." It felt like miles. 330,000 meters on a C2 bike between me and Ed, and then we had 4 bikes alongside us, of which you did a stint for 2 hours, didn't you?
I did.
And an impressive stint because you went first, and then everyone had to try and beat you.
Only one beat me.
Miles beat you. Gaz wasn't close. Gaz wasn't too far behind. But you like setting your stall out, don't you?
Thing is, it's so much easier hunting something down, isn't it? I see Miles's board. He were just constantly about 250, 500 meters in front of me, and then he weren't going to drop it because he's a beast.
No.
And when you're competitive,
and we got in his ear, yeah.
So I'm going to do one later and just do 2 meters more than
But he'll do it again. This could be bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just that between the 2 of us, non-stop, and it took us 12 hours,
unbelievable,
11 minutes or something like that. It wasn't, I wouldn't say it was difficult. It was more of a brain game than it was a physical game.
Yeah, so a mental battle rather than a physical battle.
Yeah, mainly because every time we sat back on the seat, it was like sitting on a bruise. And then in one of my rests, one of the bikes was free, so I jumped on the other bike for another hour.
So you did
in
meters
my rest.
On top of meters. So what was So you did 330,000 meters, but actually you did some more. So what was the total?
I don't actually know because I don't see what the split were. We were averaging 20.
No, I mean, what did you do on the other bike?
Oh, only 15,000.
So that's 345 you did.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was a really good day. Raised some money, great community.
You raised loads of money, didn't you? Really?
Good. Yeah.
Day. Really good. So.
And everyone was really, really sweet. Everyone came up and asked me how my dad was doing, and he starts his treatment today. So it went to a very worthy cause, especially for me right now. So it's very prevalent. So yeah, it was a really good day. So yes, it is sore, but my legs aren't too bad.
And I'd just say, from a, I guess, outsider looking in, because when it comes to the gym, I've obviously been up there and I support all the stuff I can, but I've never really, it's not my community as such, but to go there and see and feel that from all those people, it just shows what you and Ed have created there and what an amazing community it is. So it's like,
it's unreal.
It's always good to see that, and everyone brought the cakes and everything in and got stuck in, so it was a really good day.
Yeah, fueled by sugar.
Cool. So today, today's topic is it's not fair.
Oh, this could be interesting.
Yeah, so we'll get stuck into that in a bit.
Okay.
We've also got questions from the audience, as we've now started doing. So last episode, we addressed one from my sister. This week, Andy Cheetham, avid listener of all podcasts, not just ours. So he always critiques us against the levels of the other podcasts. So he said we're on his way, apparently.
Okay.
But his question's really cool, so we'll come on to that as well. But first, I feel like we should get Torie's top tip out of the way.
Okay, out of the way. How dare you? It should be the highlight. Which some people have said it is, so no offence.
I know, that's why I said it. I'm just playing it down. They're like, although, if they'd listen to your top tip, they'll probably leave before I start chatting shit. So I need to be careful with
Depends what we talk about.
You do.
So anyway, my top tip for today is residual revenue.
Okay, what is that?
Subscription models, basically.
Okay.
So knowing that X amount is going to drop into your bank account every month. So obviously that fluctuates, and there's various pros and cons to ways of doing it. But if you open your mind enough, I think regardless of what industry you're in, then there is a subscription model to be made if you're clever with it. And we watched one that it was actually my dad that recommended it, wasn't it? So Alex Hormozy did it was like a business overhaul, wasn't it, on Savage X Fenty, which is Rihanna's underwear website, and her subscription model is amazing. So for underwear, which is pretty, you wouldn't say it was a monthly purchase.
It depends what you're up to, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, true. I definitely wouldn't be buying a bra and pants every month. But she's managed to create a subscription model which is doing extremely well, which includes cross-selling, benefits, birthday presents, credit, all sorts. So in what would be deemed as something that you wouldn't buy on a regular basis, she's come up with a very healthy model. So the recommendation is to find a way to get subscriptions into your business one way or another. It's not for everybody, but it is for your high-value customers, and they're the people that you need to look after. Would always recommend a 3-tier approach, because most people generally go for the middle one.
Okay.
So bronze, silver, gold type scenario. So whether that be service and maintenance packs, if you're in plumbing, or whether it's, like I say, the loyalty programs. You're obviously a massive fan of the Represent model.
Yeah.
Like I say, that Savage X Fenty one was a really good one with Alex Hormozy when he did that. So yeah, there's loads out there, but definitely residual.
So what's the sort of blend between that then? So obviously there are loyalty programs and a subscription program. So like Represent, for example, that is very much a loyalty program. You spend, you get, and then you go up the tiers. But from a subscription point of view, there's no residual revenue with that for them. That's more like pay this and maybe get free shipping, or get this, get that, and you pay it on a monthly fee basis if you're likely to. That's how you'd probably do it in a sort of clothing scenario, isn't it?
Well, yes and no. I think it depends what you're offering. They're rewarding people based on loyalty. So there's definitely 2 different types. Probably said that wrong then. So from a subscription and a paid model, you're getting something of value by paying a small fee.
Okay.
So whatever that small fee is, like ASOS, I don't know, obviously on a massive scale, you pay $9.95 or whatever it is, and you get unlimited free postage, next day delivery and returns.
So similar to Amazon Prime as well then, that sort of vibe.
$7 or $8.99 a month, and you get XYZ. So the subscription model is based on money that is being drawn out of your account for various offerings that they're coming up with, and then obviously loyalty programs are based on how much you spend, which obviously reward your high value customers for being high value customers. So you could do both within clothing, I think. Like you say, Amazon Prime do it, ASOS do it. Savage X Fenty. There's loads of options, and it's something we're going to focus on this year, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
But it's all about bringing value.
That's the thing, because when we talked about it at length over the weekend, we were like, right, what can we do that makes this valuable? Because it's not just about that. It's all right having a subscription and then someone having it for a month and then cancelling, because like, why am I even paying for this? It's like, you've got to show up front, I guess, the value in it, so that, you know, month 1, maybe you don't get much from it, but month 2 you might get a bit more, month 3 you get a bit more. So as long as people can see the value in it, then they don't mind for those months when, if you're offering something like next day or free returns or X, it doesn't matter if they don't necessarily use it in that month, if the value for when they do use it is, I guess.
Well, yeah,
great.
As long as it pays itself back. It's like with any like American Express and all their various offers that you get with that, even through Sky, you've just got to use them. So it's definitely worth doing. But from a business perspective, it allows you to generate finance better. It allows you to plan better. It sorts cash flow issues out, especially in a business where cash flow is a much more challenging area. Then
because you know exactly what's coming in, as opposed to hoping.
And that'll fluctuate by percentages, but you should hope that it would be marginal percentages. Whereas if you grow steadily by offering, you know, the right things for your customers, then I think it's a healthy business decision.
So the kind of key takeaway from that is, don't listen or don't hear subscription model and think, I can't do it for my business. Find out how you can. Because that's one of the things that they say at the EC quite a lot, the entrepreneur circle, that we always talk about and touch on, is if you're always like listening to ideas and things for your business and saying, oh, that won't work for my business, then nothing will work for your business, will it? Because everything will always work in some capacity. You've just got to work maybe a little bit harder than some to find it, but it will work in some capacity. And like, that was, I don't know, I used to think like that a little bit. I was a bit more closed until I started working with you and the EC in more detail. I don't think I was ever completely dismissive. I might have been, depending on who was delivering the message or advice to me. I was always much more open with you because I'd seen what you'd done. So when you said it wasn't a flat, that won't work for me. But I would push back and challenge to the point where I was almost saying that until we found a way that it wasn't. And that's one of the best things that's happened to me over the last 18 months to 2 years, is my ability to kind of notice the opportunity in everything, even when it might not be completely obvious. So like, don't ever hear any advice about any business or look at anything any business is doing this day. That won't work.
Do you reckon that correlation would work in line with the Defiant Co going like that as well?
I don't know. some other correlates, I guess, as well, if you want to take any more credit. But I think I've just always been,
open-mindedness is a good thing based on the top two. You are right.
And I think I've always been open-minded, but into a very small group, because I've just never had a circle that has maybe shown me the benefit in being open-minded, or not challenged me enough because they probably didn't think it was worth it to actually pull that out of me. And now, like I say, the journey I've been on and I continue to go on makes me much more open to conversations with anyone, not just like people that might, you know, be in our field or our area. I've become much more, I think, and people have said I'm more approachable, which
they have.
is scary. So subscription models and
residual income,
and watch this space, because we're looking at that in depth, aren't we? And
we are.
Pretty exciting. And on that as well, things that we're looking at in depth, I guess we're sending an email out that'll go out tonight, actually.
Oh yeah.
To our customers, our database of people, and it is based. If you see that email, even if you don't see it in real time, go back and have a look for it, because what we're doing is we're looking at our database as it grows and grows and grows, and we don't want to send the emails we send to everyone, because at the moment we send quite a varied amount of emails. There might be some memes in there. We might send emails out about the podcast. There'll be some sales ones, but there'll also be like other bits and bobs like that. You know, across the CrossFit Games, we do CrossFit Games updates daily. So what we're doing is sending a survey out to ask you, what are you interested in? Now there'll be some boxes that you can tick, and then what we're going to do then is tailor our emails to you. So you won't get, you know, if you like the clothes but you're not interested in CrossFit, you'll not get any of the CrossFit emails. If you like the memes but don't like the podcast, you won't get the podcast, you'll get the memes. But we need you to fill that in, because if know what you do and don't like, we can't. Then you'll just get everything, and that's fine, because we don't have a big unsubscribe rate. So people obviously kind of like what we do, but if we could tailor that more, it'd be beneficial for everyone.
Definitely.
So yeah.
I just had ideas if you wonder why I was making notes.
I thought you were going to say something. Like, you're just doing some other bits, are you?
No, it was based on that survey. I've just thought of where I want to put it in. Somewhere else in the customer journey. So yeah.
Okay. Good.
As it happens, it's live, remember?
Yeah.
Well, live for us.
Yeah. And we're 15 minutes in. We can't go back now, can we?
No. So what's next?
So next, I think we will go with the topic. So it's not fair.
Mm-hmm.
So how often do you hear that expression from people? It's not fair. It's like, oh,
a lot.
That's not fair. And I think like people need to frame that differently. Otherwise, they're going to miss out on opportunity, on good stuff, just by thinking something's not fair. And the reason I brought this up as a topic was I was reading one of my books about the way the human psyche works. And I read a passage that was really interesting about what people do in relation to what they think is fair. So say me and you both work the exact same job for the exact same hours, everything's identical, and we both get paid 50 grand a year. Mm-hmm. So they did a study on people that all got paid the same for the same job and said to them, we both get paid 50k. Now, you're going to get 200k a year. I'm going to get 100k a year. Nothing else has changed. Mm-hmm. We're still doing the same job, same hours, etc. And they said to the person getting the 100k a year, they told them that you'd be getting 200, but you'd get 100. Mm-hmm. And that person, they said, do you accept that? And they said, no, it's not fair. I'd rather us both stay on 50 grand. That was the result of the survey as a whole. Like obviously there was bits and bobs in more detail than that, but the overall premise of it was the person would rather stay where they are.
That was the majority, was it?
Yeah, than see somebody else get more than them. So you've just turned down 100% pay rise. You go from 50k to 100k, but because your colleague went to 200k, you thought it wasn't fair, so turned down something that was absolutely beneficial and brilliant for you. Now, that's the thing with things like fair. I hate the word. I think it's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. But that's a prime example. If you're so focused on what's fair or what you deem fair or unfair, imagine missing out on that opportunity. Because you can imagine someone saying, well, why are they getting fucking paid 100 grand more than me? But you're getting paid 50 grand more than you were yesterday. So don't be so I don't know, closed in your thinking that because someone else is getting more. Just assess your situation.
In isolation. Yeah,
in isolation. Take it as what you're getting and what you're doing. And then you won't miss out on opportunities such as that. Because I think it's lots of stuff happens in life and people's reaction isn't fair. I don't know if that's because people think stuff happens to them as opposed to just happens. You know what I mean? And I think if you frame that slightly differently in life, that helps a lot as well. So, I don't know, if there's a flood and your house is devastated and you lose all your stuff, but so did everyone on your street. And you could say like, oh, why did this happen to me? And then you become a victim and it's terrible. But it didn't happen to you. It happened. You just happened to be there, So don't get me wrong. You can be feeling like you've had some bad luck there, but frame it differently from happening to you and it just happened. Because then you're not becoming a victim. It's the same with the fair thing. If you think everything that happens is unfair, how are you ever going to become better? How are you ever going to sort of rise from the ashes of something if you're constantly worried about whether it was fair or not? Because at the end of the day, if you really want to take fair in its entirety, nothing's fucking fair, but nothing's supposed to be.
No.
We live in a world, especially in the Western world where we are privileged enough to be able to create opportunities for ourselves if we want to go and get them. And then, the people that are maybe lazy and don't want to go and get stuff, they look at people that have stuff and think, well, that's not fair. Well, you don't see what they've done. You know what I mean? They're not an overnight success. They've worked for it and they've done what was necessary to make it what it is. And when I read that, I just found it fascinating because you want 50 grand pay rise? No, because they're getting more than that. It's just crazy to me.
I think the only time that I've ever thought that because I agree with you, it'd be interesting to see what the study said about the people that said, no, absolutely. Why were they different? That they were like, no, as long as I'm okay. And I've got a couple of clients that are like that at the minute. That's like, I don't care what anyone else does, I only care what I do. So it'd be interesting to see what they put as the characteristics or the traits behind the people that can see their own life in isolation rather than looking at others. It'd be really interesting. But people that are sick, for example, and live their life extremely well. And then they just say, well, I do everything by the book, and things are going wrong. It just seems unfair. So it's like that, where there's no answer or correlate or something that you're doing wrong. It's either just one of those things. So that's the only time where it's like, I don't know if you agree that how do you frame it in, say, health reasons, for example?
I don't know. I still don't think fairs are sort of. I agree with bad luck. Like you could say that's bad luck, but it's just part of life, isn't it? It's not like
100%.
Nothing's guaranteed, nothing's real, nothing's 100%. So like stuff can happen, and I get it. That's when I guess I'd maybe be a chink in my armor for that and say
It'd be the only. That's
you
I
could
said the only
say
time I
it's
ever
not
hear
fair,
it.
but like like what I said earlier, life's not fair. If you want to look at fair,
Oh no, I completely agree.
Everything can fall apart in a moment, but like, and they are so rare, those instances where somebody has been struck down with something, completely unrelated to the lifestyle or anything.
Yeah, you'd never guess. I think that, and I just don't know what better terminology. Yes, bad luck might be one of them. That might be one of them.
But then again, luck's a similar concept to fair.
To fair, exactly.
Like,
so that's the only time, like you say, that there's a little bit where you think,
yeah,
okay, that is quite unfair.
Yeah, but I guess I'd go with that, because I guess the type of person that would say that's unfair, you probably believe them.
Yeah.
When you think about how many people do you know in life, or have you encountered throughout your life, as opposed to like and nothing's fair. Everything's someone else's fault, and they're the kind of people that are turning down a 50 grand pay rise because someone sat next to them's getting 100 grand.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. You're almost cutting your nose off to spite your face. And
100%.
There's not many opportunities in life where you could get that much of a pay rise overnight. And if you're more worried about what someone else is getting, and it's the same in business. You see it a lot in the. I can only really relate it to the CrossFit space, but when I've been at hundreds of events over the years, and I've seen the vendors that want to interact with each other and pull each other up and not be worried about what each other's doing and just kind of be part of the community. And then you've seen the ones that isolate themselves and obviously don't even look at you when you walk in. And that sort of mentality of, like, if you're with everyone and you're together, you see opportunities, and rather than worry about, Hybrid have brought out new tops, so we're not going to sell any of our tops, rather than worry about what they're doing, worry about what you're doing, because if you get what you're doing right, then if you want to call it fair, then life will be fair because you're doing the right things. If you're looking around at everyone else, you're going to miss out on 100 grand pay rise, and you're going to not do all that stuff. So I think it's an interesting one, but that based on that study and based on those people that say nothing's fair, I've had to train myself a little bit with that over the years, because it was long before I read that book that I hated that. I used to think, whenever I used to hear it, but I remember being one of them when I were like fat and that, nothing was fair. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, you know what I mean? I was just like that kind of, I don't know, my mentality was just all wrong. Everything was someone else's fault, and then I kind of flipped overnight to the point where I want everything to be my fault, because if everything's my fault, I can do something about it. You know what I mean? Like, you're in control. It's the only way that I can do that. So fair or not?
Right, go on then. What was Cheets' question?
So the last question, it's kind of twofold, which is it's interesting. So one goes into the other.
Okay. So
Cheets noticed that we've started a new feature of asking each guest, what does being defiant mean to you? So Ethan's answer on the last podcast brought a tear to my eye. So what he basically said was, kind of embellishing upon that a little, was what do we want the brand to be known for? And then it's twofold, because on the back of that, he said, do you worry that what the brand is known for now and what you believe in now could be impacted by growth or by commercially associating with other brands or investors, and then you losing not necessarily credibility or sight of the brand, but having to change how you do things to appease more of the masses? So firstly, I guess for you, what do you want the brand to be known for?
That's a difficult one to answer first. For the reasons that I bought into, well, obviously saw the brand from day dot almost. When you set it up, that's back when we met each other, wasn't it? So I've understood you, the values and everything that you've built, and watched it very closely. And obviously the reason that I came on board is that I'm a massive believer in those. I therefore stand strong to those values because I believe in them enough to carry them forward. And I feel like this as a partnership works well because you believe them right through to your core. It's in fact most of the conversations that we have that whenever, because obviously I come from more of a, I'll bring like, oh, what about this idea? Or we could do this, or we could try that. Let's go this way. And it is always, you'll circle it round, which is the whole point of having those conversations. And where I think it works well in the sense that sometimes I'll look outwards while you continue to stay anchored in, and I can fly away and then come back. And I feel like I'm a massive believer in staying strong to your beliefs and your core values, hugely. But as long as it doesn't come to the detriment of opportunity and growth. But I feel like your messaging, only to the detriment, I think it stays true and I think it stays apparent. But I don't think you should ever not look. I know. I don't think you should ever not look at opportunity, but I don't think you should change who you are or what you believe in. So yeah, I believe in staying true to the roots of it.
But what are the roots of it? Because you're saying staying true to it, but I'm asking you what are they to you? Just because that, then it's interesting to get that answer.
Pure defiance. Community, defiance, innovation. I feel like that's definitely something in the last 2 years where we've thought, or definitely for the next year, going to be thinking more outside of the box with how we grow this business, hopefully a bit differently. And I'd say unity maybe. But I'd say, yeah, I think that'd be my main points. Yeah. Well then, off you go.
Wind him up, watch him
go.
For me, well, what do I want the brand to be known for is just for being real. Like, I want it to be known for being like genuine and real, and like you said, the community aspect is important, but also for being like, like I got a message on Sunday because about basically I sent an email out to a few people that bought a certain product, advising them of a certain delivery date just to make sure they'd seen it. I got like one response for two. I got a few responses, but one was saying your customer service is always brilliant. Thank you for letting me know that. And it was just that I want to be known for customer service because bad customer service pisses me off. Like so that's like, but I think good customer service comes from being real. You're upfront, you don't hide away from things, and that comes into it for me. And that all sort of bundles up into Defiant because you are just doing what you think is right and what is best, and as long as you're doing that with substance, that can be some people would call that Defiant in a negative way, not in terms of the brand, but when you display those characteristics as a person, when you won't walk where everyone else walks for the sake of walking there because you want to make your own path, that's classed as defiant or against the norm. And that's what I want the brand to be known for being real, for being authentic, and for just being unapologetically what we want it to be. And that means the absolute world to me. And coming on to the second bit, do I worry that if we grow and we get investors and commercially expand, that we'll lose sight of that? I mean, absolutely fucking not. I don't worry at all. Because I will not bend for anyone.
You will not.
And that isn't me saying that I'm not, open to change or open to growth. That is saying that these are our core values. And if you come to us to get involved, then you better fucking have them, because otherwise we don't want you. And I don't want nothing to do with anyone that doesn't display what we display. And I think that's because we are real and we believe in who we are and what we're doing. And because we believe in who we are and what we're doing, we're impenetrable to all the nonsense outside of that. So if someone comes in and says, you have to do this because of this, no, we don't. We know who we are. We're comfortable with who we are. We're comfortable with what we're doing. And you're going to have to come up with a very compelling argument to even make us consider fluctuating from that at all.
Oh, no, I agree. But that was back to the point you made earlier about open-mindedness.
Yeah.
And the fact that probably 2 years ago would be very different to now. You're open to growth and opportunity.
And I don't want that to sound like I'm not open-minded in what I'm saying there. But if you do not stand for something, you'll stand for anything. And that's not what being Defiant's about to me. Our brand is going to go where it's going to go, but it's going to go there with our values at its core. And, Dana White was like one of the people that I saw doing a podcast or something. And some of his sponsors came to him one day and said, you've got to drop this. I don't know if it was Joe Rogan, when everyone was trying to cancel him. You've got to drop him or we're going to pull out. And he sat there and he went, fuck you. They're like, just go. He said, I'm loyal. I know who I am. I know who he is. And we are what we are. So if you don't like it, go. I'll find you sponsors. And that's what I want. And I'm not say we will defend the indefendable, but like if we're working with anyone and we're going to be loyal to them, we're going to be loyal to each other, we're going to be loyal to the brand, and that just means everything to me, and no one will make us waver from that whatsoever.
I agree.
And I will die on that fucking hill. Done?
Yeah. I'll be on the hill too.
All right. So if you've got a question that you want answering with as much passion, and I bet people could like find a way to provoke me, I think, with these questions.
Easily.
My heart rate went up there. But that's passion. I'm passionate about it, and I would not be passionate about it if it wasn't those things that I've just talked about. You know what I mean? Like, it means something to me. It's there. It's fucking real. Like I said, the first thing is real. This could not be more real. When I talk about this, I get passionate, I get emotional, and I'm buzzing for where it's going to go. But it will go where we want it to. And if someone comes in and offers us the world but doesn't display those values, then they're no good to us.
Agreed.
Bang.